Yes, I am approved for LinkedIn Live.
It looks like it is live. Everything is live on YouTube.
I'm live. We're live. Business
Hello,
AF.
everyone. It's just us
Bus-
two today, which is good.
Chris, why don't you do your intro and I will go ahead and share this on LinkedIn Live.
Yeah, so today we'll be speaking about Social Media Marketing World's conference that we attended 2 weeks ago, before this huge outbreak of COVID-19 has struck in San Diego in the convention center. Actually, I'm happy that we went
mhm.
and we got to experience that before now. So
Yes. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Hold on. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. Um, we'll also talk about how, where I'm seeing, well, I'm going to mention some people that are like now really figuring out how their businesses can go digital without the face-to-face interaction, and how maybe we can offer some help in that sense because we've been kind of working from home for a while. Yes, we have co-working spaces, and now you and I are social distancing ourselves from each other, but I'm
yeah.
sure that in small groups it's still going to happen. um, so we definitely want to talk about that. But before we get into social media marketing world, I want to ask you to subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching live or the replay, go ahead and subscribe to us. We really would appreciate it. We've been growing it organically since August of last year. So we are definitely, this is our fun project where we get to talk about business, all things business. And, sometimes we get to talk to other people who can provide value to other business owners, and we talk all things marketing. We talk mindset, regenerative business, which we talked to two women last week. So we're definitely going to step it up. And if you are looking to subscribe, go to businessafpod.com, and that's the URL right there. So, Chris,
Yes.
I told you about social media marketing world maybe about a month ago. It was like only right before the
Like
conference.
2 weeks before, I think, or a week and
Right,
a half,
yeah.
actually.
So can you describe your experience and kind of, first hearing about it and why you wanted to attend?
Yeah, so I think it was helpful for myself and my business because, of course, we are an agency, or Pixelift Digital, the company that I own is an agency where we provide services for other companies. And uh, one of the things that I really want to do is being able to outreach to as many people as possible so that they are aware of what we do. Oh no, it's spelled wrong.
Yes.
Pixelift. It's one word now.
PIX.
Elift.
Okay.
Yeah, our
Like
website's actually
this.
up and running now.
Like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes, you can visit us there, and you can also contact us. And I work close with Marissa too, so we combine services together. And so, anyways, but what we do is software development, uh, and we are really trying to get into a niche market for casino gaming. So I wanted to know, how can we reach these shot callers in the casino gaming industry? I mean, I already have an idea on how to, but there's other ways of doing it through social media and LinkedIn. So when you told me about it, I wasn't even aware about this conference. I'm not into marketing at all, uh,
Mhm.
but do respect it. And um, so it was helpful because I got to meet a whole bunch of different people from different parts of the world and the country.
And you were a
And
volunteer, right? So you applied to
yeah,
volunteer instead of
yeah,
attend. Yeah.
yeah, and which was good because I got to pretty much see what it was like before actually paying for the
Yes.
pass. And
Mhm.
I think next year I will go as a full attendee,
Mhm.
because I made great connections and got to learn a few things
Mhm.
that I wouldn't have known on my own. I mean, I probably could have, but it's good, just good to hear from the professionals themselves and being around in that in that environment of professionals.
Right.
Uh, and it was helpful for me to know which, because we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, and we're on LinkedIn. And what it really did, or how the conference really helped me, was by really knowing where I should putting all my attention to, which
Mhm.
platform, which is LinkedIn.
Right.
Before I thought it was like, and you were telling me that too. So, but I guess just seeing more and more people that have the same type of businesses I do, just really getting great outcomes through LinkedIn was
Yes.
eye-opening for myself.
And what is it like? What did you have to do to volunteer? Like, what? I mean, why would someone volunteer versus
Uh,
attend? Or was it just kind of that's what happened because of you got in so late? I mean, I'm
well,
a
I think,
volunteer, so I could speak to it if you want me
yeah.
to.
Well, for
Um,
me, it was more so I don't want to fork up the $1,600 for the, because it was already so late, a
mhm,
week and a half before the event, and I did not want to fork it for a conference that I don't know anything about.
mhm,
I I'm not into marketing. I'm not sure if I'd benefit anything from it.
mhm.
So, that could have been a great loss of money for my business.
Right.
And volunteering was free, and I also got to attend
Mhm,
some of the events and some of the talks and for free.
mhm.
So it cost me nothing.
Right.
It's free,
Just your time.
and I got a great ROI out of it. Yeah, my
Yeah.
time was okay.
Right. Um, so for me, this was my 4th year there. The first 3 years I was a volunteer, and this year I was a volunteer pre-event. So I can speak a lot to the value of building those relationships as a volunteer, being a local, providing resources in terms of where to eat, even. I mean, I know this is a conference about marketing, but it really is about connecting with those people that you know online, whether it's in a Facebook group or you've seen them, being very connected to the online world. You see these people all the time, but you don't really get to meet with them and talk to them about, every day to day things. So the first year I went was kind of like you. Like I got in like 2 weeks before. I didn't really know what to expect. And each year since then, I've built on these relationships that I've formed, you know, at like the meetups, at the networking event that they have, the parties, even the random dinners that people have. Like they have a conference app as well. So um, in addition to being a volunteer, you also get access to all the sessions. So even if you're not able to attend that session that you really want to learn about, maybe relationship marketing or LinkedIn ads, as a volunteer, you can definitely check those out after the fact. So I think that's one of the really huge, valuable parts of being a volunteer because you get a perk. Yeah, you have to work your shifts, but if it's not too much of a time issue with you and you don't have a lot of other things that are on your plate and you can be there for the length of the conference, which is 3.5 days essentially. It's really 2.5, but there's training involved and
Mhm.
stuff. It's definitely important. And this year was my first year as an attendee.
And
So
how did
it was,
you like it versus being a volunteer?
yeah, I mean, it's been my 4th year. So like I knew a lot of people just from being in the community and connecting with them previous years. But there were times during the conference where I was thinking, what do I do now? Because it wasn't a matter of having to go and do my shift. It was like, okay, like, do I go and like hang out with people in the networking plaza and really kind of like talk business, talk shop, or do I take a break and like relax and just let my brain, not move for a while? Because at the time, we didn't have a huge, burden on us with COVID. I mean, it was kind of like coming
Mhm.
up. It was definitely a topic, but it
Yeah.
wasn't it wasn't as serious as it is now. And I gave myself the grace to not always be on and go to the networking plaza and go to these sessions. And I think working from home, you can understand that there are breaks in that. So that was really kind of nice to be able to like leave the conference center and maybe go grab lunch, or
Hmm.
and then come back and be ready and refreshed to take in all the valuable information that was being provided by the speakers. So yeah, I don't know what next year will entail. I don't think I'll be a volunteer again, but I speak highly of being a volunteer because of the relationships that you built, in this networking, in this community, and how that, as long as you take additional steps to connect with people outside of the conference and after, like I'm still having calls from people that I didn't get to connect with.
Hmm.
Um, I think it can be very valuable, and hopefully turn into more business. So
Yeah, definitely. I ended up landing a potential client, hopefully, out of it. I'm meeting with
yeah,
them
that's awesome.
tomorrow.
You're
So, and they're a
welcome.
pretty big global company, actually. So,
You're welcome.
yeah, thank you.
um,
Um,
cool.
and
So
we'll see. They might need help with marketing too.
yeah, I
So,
mean, uh, I'm not concerned about that. I know that as I give as much as I can, it will always come back to me, and I have to stay true to that, and that's what I believe in. So it's definitely, I
stay
didn't
true,
go.
Marissa. Stay true.
One of my goals or two goals I had to build on relationships that I've already built up through, through the online communities and stuff, and really meet and connect with people one on one, but also to seize opportunities. So in that moment, in any specific moment, if I felt that it was beneficial for me to go to a lunch and like sit down with like 10 people one on one versus go to a session where I was going to learn something valuable, I chose the smaller option just because that opportunity won't come again,
Exactly.
really,
Yeah.
like unless
Yeah.
in next year or maybe the next big conference. And now that all of these conferences are getting canceled, like who knows when the next one will be, and like when's that next opportunity for
Yeah.
you to just connect with people. So
Well, I have a question. So, being
sure.
involved in marketing, did you
Mhm.
learn anything new at
um
the conference?
so I did that, actually. Nice segue, because I wanted to talk about the sessions that I went to. And and I'm a huge Twitter user, and so I think that, some of the
Very fun.
things that I went to a Twitter session from Dan Knowlton, and I think there was things that I knew about, but it was more so like getting full attention during that session and learning about how you can use Twitter advanced search to do a lot of research. And he gave like this, it was like this whole slide, and I wish I could share it. Maybe I'll share it later on, but it was this whole slide of different, like, I wouldn't say algorithm, but like a different formula of how you can search for um, people looking for business or people looking for solutions. Like if someone's looking to go like a live stream, but they don't know how. Usually, if they're active on Twitter, they know a little bit of technology, but they don't know the best tool. So there's a lot of questions that are put out on Twitter that a lot of companies are not looking at, because, or they're not even monitoring it. They're not setting up alerts for when someone says like, hey, I need a new website, or like I need to redesign my website because I don't know why my people aren't buying or whatever. And that is something, in my opinion, for you to look for. Go on Twitter and look and see if people are even talking about that. And who knows what that turns into, because it shows that you're paying attention to the market, not necessarily in a desperate way, but like you can help those who are actually seeking the help.
Correct.
And that is something I knew about Twitter advanced search, but I never seen it like really put to use. And he gave us all these like
For
little
business,
tools.
using Twitter for business?
Um, yeah, Liz, hi Liz. Yeah, I think she was in that room. But yeah, no, Twitter for your personal brand, how you can utilize what people are talking, because there's tons of users on Twitter, and how you can utilize the Twitter advanced search to find those people that are talking about it. Like right now, where people are talking about resources or things to do while you're stuck at home. Like, oh my God, I'm really like frustrated. I don't know what to do. Like there's a lot of people tweeting about that. Now, what about if you teach piano virtually? why wouldn't you respond to them? If you teach like other things in a virtual sense, like, you know, how can you connect with them? Because they are reaching out, they are putting those tweets out. So why not spend a little time and look? And you don't even have to market your services. They're already asking for it. You know, you're like learning the pain points, like how are people, like, you know how to describe your business, but how do people describe your business?
Correct.
You know, so really looking at, so it's a lot of listening and like it's like a big pool of customers. So um Liz said, yeah, I really like the Twitter talk. Those alerts are so good. I even got to chat with someone pretty high up who works for Twitter who was sitting next to me. So Liz is like, you know, has her own strategy in terms of what she's looking for from that conference. So it's really important to really find out what you would get from it and really seize those opportunities. So that's good feedback, Liz.
Liz, is that in the comments?
Hi, Fiona. Yeah, on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn. Oh, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not seeing anything.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that,
It's cool. We're getting people asking questions.
yeah.
See, I'm telling you, we could do more. There's more
Yeah,
people like
I
right
think,
now that it's good because we could speak. I'm glad that people are coming on asking questions because then
yeah.
this is what we want. I want this type of interaction with people. So.
Hmm. Yeah, and Fiona said the best deals can be made over lunches. So true.
Yeah,
Definitely true.
and
And
happy hour.
hey, you never know. I buy domains when I'm over drinks sometimes.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Um so what session what session did you attend and what did you get out of it?
So I can't recall like what the titles were for each session, but the only ones that I did attend were I attended 3 or 4, and they were only about LinkedIn and LinkedIn Live video,
Mhm.
which I need to do one this week. Um, I'm going to do one this week. So, and
You didn't learn that from me?
I learned that from you, but last week you talked me into just doing it, so I was like, okay, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it.
it's reaffirming basically.
So yeah,
Sometimes you gotta hear it more than once. I got it.
and then I'm like, okay, so anyways, it just like I said earlier, it just taught me the power of how valuable LinkedIn can be to a type of business, like a B2B type of business that I have.
Mhm.
So I think it's very
What did
very
they
valuable.
did you watch? It was Goldie? Was it Goldie that you were
I
watching?
don't even remember their names.
Oh, that's not good.
I mean, I'm that guy that doesn't remember names, so whatever. I mean,
Um, okay, hold
here
on.
I have that guy's book right here. I
Oh,
have
John
one.
Nemo. John Nemo.
This is one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Nemo. Yeah,
So
I didn't
John Nemo.
attend his talk, but I read a little bit of that book and he, you know, super valuable tips. And I think that it's, you know, especially for business to business owners, you know, you're marketing to other businesses and sure you can post on Facebook what you do. You kind of showcase that you're working from home, but like who's going to buy from you and who's going to really form that, you know, start trusting you. And
Correct.
it's the people that are in that business mindset and maybe even respect your time a little bit more. Yeah, there's a lot of poachers, there's a lot of people everywhere, but I think you have to also set your boundaries when it comes to that as well. So,
Hmm. And it showed me how, because I used to use LinkedIn as a resume builder kind of type of thing, right?
yeah.
Not for business. And so I think it's important for me to make that pivot on my LinkedIn profile. Um, and I will. Uh, and I'll be talking to you about that here soon. And anyway, so I mean, but it's valuable. I mean, I'm sure all the
Mhm.
other sessions people learn from as well. But I'm just asking if you learn anything because sometimes I'll go to like a design conference or meetups or
Mhm.
development conference, and maybe that world might move slower than it does for marketing, but sometimes
Mhm.
it's like the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like so, sometimes
Um
we don't always. We just go there to see old faces and pretty much work away from the office. But
yeah, I mean, I think um It's all in like how you approach it. Like if you're going there and expecting to get all these new business connections and you're 10xing your business, like that's not always going to happen. So I think it's, you have to set those goals and those boundaries from the get-go. So yeah, Fiona said
Definitely.
Vivica. Yeah, Vivica was another LinkedIn. It was Michaela, Vivica, Goldie, and John Nemo. I know because I watched most of those.
Oh, I
Or
did see one where this guy was talking about A and B testing marketing and using the
mhm,
hotspots to pretty much like how to use your website to bring you in business. So I was okay, well, let me see if I can learn anything from this guy.
mhm.
And uh, I ended up calling him out on it, like because I didn't understand. Did I tell you about this?
You mentioned it. Yeah, you were
Yeah.
like,
So because what he does is he uses some of the same tools I use when I do test studies on clients' websites.
mhm,
So he's doing the same thing using this tool called Hotjar. And what Hotjar does is it provides you hotspot analytics information so you can see where people are clicking, where you're losing
mhm.
people on the page, how far they're scrolling,
Right.
how many people scroll as well, like how far. And what he was saying was like, okay, well, I'll just usually see where they're missing, provide some new design concepts, and then just see which one the client likes most and push it out. And I'm like, well, your whole thing was saying about how generating ROI. Well, so I said pretty much like, don't you test it before you even launch it? Because he also
Mhm,
had another study where he launched something and had the client lost money, but he's like, well, them losing money on that was still like a lower cost because they didn't lose that much on it, but it
mhm,
showed that it wasn't working. I'm like, well, you could have found that out ahead of time if
mhm,
you've done the research beforehand. So like testing it on particular user group, having them go to the site and playing with
mhm,
it and seeing where you're losing people or not being as engaging with your customer. And then once you figure that out, you redesign it and then develop it and then launch it. Once you figure those things that are hurting or helping your website.
yes. I
So,
think,
but
I mean, the testing is definitely
I was
like,
like, did anyone not catch that? Like what he just did? Because he showed a company losing money and then saying how it was so helpful for them to lose money by showing that and then
mhm.
fixing it. I'm like, well, you could have done that without actually having the company lose money.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it just depends on what the long game is for them, and if that worked for them, who knows? Speaking of businesses losing money, hey,
Mm.
oh, you went silent for a sec. Can you
No,
hear
no,
me?
I'm here. Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Speaking of businesses losing money, um, COVID-19 is
Travel
definitely,
industry,
yeah,
hospitality.
yeah. I'm not sure how this is going to affect people that have already been digital. I think that I mentioned that in the beginning. It's really forcing people to figure out how they can put their business, at the forefront, go online, get more um, get more exposure, go live, stream whatever they can. A lot of people are very stuck in their old ways. At least
Yeah.
most of the people that I work with are very. They're not. They need guidance, I guess, in what's the best solution or strategy for them, and that's really what I have seen over the last couple days. Um, People not sure how to navigate the digital world, and so I think it does help people like us because we're there with the resources. We've been there. We've been working from home. We know kind of like you have to maintain your morning routine. You have to understand, what are your boundaries, and how can you really reach more people than in a large business networking setting or office space. um, but we really don't know what that is going to look like in a month or so when businesses are really like dipping
Hurting.
into their extra funds and really figuring out like what's the next step. I do like that more people are looking to embrace digital, and do shows like this, get on live. I just had a business networking meeting go on YouTube live this morning, and we didn't have enough time to promote it. We don't have those things ironed out, but I think a lot of these people were very hesitant in order to navigate that world of online digital networking because they've never done it. They've done it in person. Here's my business card. This is what I do. They can talk to, what their business's value is, but they weren't as comfortable getting on camera.
Mhm.
But it was, I think, a pretty good meeting considering we just set it up yesterday, and
Mhm.
it was cool. I mean, I think that, now it's what, day 4 really of us trying to be in self-isolation or self-quarantine isolation,
I don't know.
and
Is
I
it
think
absolutely even been paying attention?
I think, well, like, when all the sports shut down on Thursday, Friday was kind of Thursday and Friday I stayed home, and then Saturday and Sunday I tried to go out because it was in weekend mode, and I wasn't really like in a sense where I'm gonna go out and like party and like be around a ton of people, but I needed some type of fresh air because there's a good balance between staying at home all the time and getting out and seeing people outside of your dog and cat. You know, so I think
I saw a meme. It was pretty funny. It was like, oh man, here, let me see if I can find it. It's so funny because there's some people that just quarantine themselves anyways, like all the introverts.
yeah.
Yeah, it
Well,
was
and I think that that brings up a point. Like, I was talking to um a friend of mine right before this, and we're very comfortable. When you find out normal day is called quarantine. Yeah, so true. Yeah. I think one of the things that, and I'm not necessarily like the savior for everyone, but checking on the people that may be susceptible to not adapting well to like being at home. Your friends that that have really thrived in working in offices, or always the extroverts, I guess, the ones that are always out and about. Because I consider myself an extroverted introvert. Like, I can be cool with like just being by myself by the lake.
same.
um and maybe I share my story like socially, but it's most of the time I don't need to do that. I don't need to go live or anything like that. But there's people that are not comfortable with it, and they're not even posting about their situation, or like they're too ashamed to say, I'm not doing well with this because of the
Interesting.
stigma around mental health and stuff like that. So I think, if you can check up on, and what I've been trying to do is check up on 2 or 3 people a day, just to, check in and see how they're doing. And some of my friends are having to really figure out what they're going to do because they're in the bar and nightlife industry, and they rely on
Mhm,
tips. And
mhm,
so this is
mhm.
like something that's like, okay, like, what's going to happen? Like, we don't even know. There's not even protections for us in place. They're saying my boss can't even pay me, you know, because
Yeah,
we're not
it's.
getting any income.
I think
So,
that should show us too as a country.
mhm,
Like how you know, you take. I like to think about this like a fight. Like for
mhm,
example, my last fight I lost, right? So it's like,
mhm,
and one of the reasons why I lost is because like I didn't do cardio enough, and
mhm,
so I lost energy, and I also didn't diet as well as I should have in order to
mhm,
lose my weight. So it's like, okay, now the country's in a losing situation, right? Or the
mhm.
world, in fact. So it's like, okay, we take this loss and learn from it. What can we do better so that we can win later? And I think that's something that we all need to do as individuals to better ourselves and the country as well. I
Yeah,
mean,
right.
um, so take this loss as a lesson.
Mhm.
Like don't be one of these people that's going out and freaking hoarding toilet. First of all, toilet paper ain't gonna help you, right? So, and like there's enough supplies in the world for us. So just chill, laugh out.
Yeah.
And seriously, like we're all here. We should be a community. Don't
Yes.
yeah, for
I
sure.
think um there are some, and I think that's really powerful. I think that we have to understand that, like, we're not alone, and those are very woo-woo thinking, and really center ourselves and be present in the moment, because we don't really know what's going to happen. And I
No,
think
but
that
we
that
gotta be here
the
for each other.
yeah, and I think also, I'm looking online for like the helpers, like who's helping, especially people like us. Like, I don't know if you know, but like Wave, Wave, the people that take payments. I don't know if you've heard of Wave.
No, but I've
Uh,
seen like Cash App people, like,
no, no, no.
people.
Wave is like an invoicing system, and
Oh,
they're kind of like QuickBooks and stuff like
okay.
that. And
Okay, I have heard of it. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
they're waiving uh fees on instant payout. So like if you get paid from a client, an invoice is paid, it usually takes 2 to 3 business days, but like now you can do an instant payout, and normally there's like a fee for that, because to get it directly into your bank, there's always a fee,
Yeah.
but they announced today that they're waiving fees on that. So if you do get paid, like if you're doing a one-off job, or your client finally pays that invoice that they owe you online, you can take that money right away into your bank, which is helpful, for people who are getting paid digitally. Um, and like Zoom is free for people. There's like a lot of digital tools, that are going to be opening up their services and really helping. And I hope that does return some, more new customers for them once this thing blows over. I hate to say blows over, but once things get back to normal, or whatever normal is, um, it'll have a return on investment for them, because they're taking a loss as well. You
Yeah,
know.
and one thing I want also, like, if anyone sees us that runs a business, or has a high possession to make a call in someone else's business, um, learn how to work outside of the office. Seriously.
Mhm.
Um, right now, what we're seeing is not even because of, like, not even, I'm not even talking about this because of the world. Like right now we're
Mhm.
seeing impact. Like people in China can actually see like less pollution. Like you can, like space
Yeah.
can see China, like less pollution. Like same thing with Italy.
Mhm.
We'll probably be seeing the same thing like in LA. Like LA's
Mhm.
congested all the time. Like
Yeah.
all these things. So it's like learn, like, especially nowadays, like if your job doesn't require you to be in office, like if you're an engineer, if you're in marketing, if you're a
Mhm.
designer, if anything that's office based,
Right.
for the most part, like you don't need to be there. You
Right.
don't need to have all this foot traffic going around. And learn what, and it's going to be a trial and error process for the business, but there's so many tools that are available out there, and a lot of the
Mhm.
tools have their pros and cons, but they all are there to help you
Yeah.
and maximize your business efforts. So learn that as a business.
Yeah, I
People
think
don't need
this
to be there in person.
yeah, and I think that, us being remote workers, and, in our previous job, I mean, before I ventured out on my own, I was a remote worker. I was working from this same office, and I had a routine. I woke up, I went to the gym, I took a shower, I made breakfast, and all before 7 a.m., because I had to sign in by 7. And it was really good for like my productivity, because I was dressed and I felt like, okay, I'm going to work. And you
Mhm.
put yourself in that mindset. And I think a lot of people are like, yes, I get to work from my pajamas. And I'm like, that's going to run out soon. Like,
Brush
sure,
your
you can
teeth,
put,
please.
yeah, you can put like, comfy pants on maybe, but like just getting, putting makeup on, and, Chris, I don't know if you put makeup on, but maybe you do.
Only on Tuesdays for our podcast.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes. But that could totally be, I mean, and that's my advice to people who are now forced to work from home and figure out their situation. And you and I both know and understand digital tools, and can work and be productive anywhere with a strong Wi-Fi connection. So,
Yeah.
if anyone has any questions, or they maybe want to do something like this and jump on our show, we're definitely open to that.
Yeah. we have more available spots. So
Yeah, I think we're booking right now for next week and after that, and you can do it from your computer in your home office, so
yeah,
that's even better.
imagine that. Like you can actually work from home. Wow, 2020.
So
Good
before we wrap up,
yeah.
I don't want to keep people too long because I'm sure they have a ton of stuff to do, and I don't want this to run too long. But
I'm sure they don't.
we do
I'm just
our
kidding.
random question, and our random question usually always has this like undertone of like being on a private island or like being, like in isolation. But I don't have one today because of the times, and I'm like, oh, what can I? What do you have one? A random question?
I have one, but for you, it might be too raw.
Oh no.
Like,
Here we go.
if you're the COVID
Oh.
19 virus, who would you attach yourself to?
Oh my god. Oh, that's I mean, I
Not to like hurt them, but
yeah, just to like be near them and
I
stuff.
guess, not in a bad way. I don't mean this in
I
a bad
would
way.
be yeah, I would definitely go and like hang out with my No, you know what's a better question? I'm gonna answer yours, but
Okay.
um my favorite footballer, his name is Hector Bellerin, and he plays for the Arsenal, so yeah, that would be someone I would but
What's his
Mike
name?
Hector Bellerin.
Hector. All right, Hector. If you ever see this podcast, know that Marissa wants to be your
Right?
COVID 19.
But my question to you is if who would you self quarantine with? If you had
Oh,
to be in isolation from now to the end of the month and like who would it be?
I think it would be with could it be anyone, dead or alive?
Anyone. Anyone.
It'd be my grandma
Oh,
or my mom's side, yeah, for sure.
nice.
Yeah,
That's I'm sure you get a lot of good like historical stories and a lot of information from her, I bet.
yeah, she was, yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, that'll end our show today. If you are watching on replay or live on YouTube, make sure you visit us at businessafpod.com
Subscribe.
and subscribe definitely on YouTube. We would really appreciate it.
Yeah, we'd like to keep pushing this, bring more uh, leaders into this podcast so that we can all learn from them.
Yes, definitely. And one last thing, if you do want a show like this, go to liveonsocialnow.com and sign up for StreamYard because StreamYard does allow us to stream to LinkedIn and YouTube at the same time. And you can
And many
do
more platforms.
yes, yeah, any social platform. So, yeah, if you have any questions, definitely send us a message, and we will see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.